Hello friends, I'm Miss K, your dedicated tourist guide, and last week we did an overview of what each element of your natal chart means. Today we'll be giving examples of what each inner celestial body means in each house to help you better understand your chart. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn notifications on so that you don't miss an opportunity to create the life that you want to live in. Understanding your natal chart, part 2. Keep in mind that some elements affect each other, so if you feel it's not spot on, there's most likely some type of friction between the celestial bodies. I learned from the best, my idol, Maxine Taylor, Georgia's first licensed astrologer, so shout out to Bay and sending love and credit where credit is due. We'll be starting off with Mercury, which naturally rules the 3rd and 6th house of the zodiacs, Gemini and Virgo, and represents conscious thinking, speaking, and your siblings. If Mercury is in your 1st house, you may be a great socialist. When conversation is sparked with the right crowd, you naturally become a social butterfly. Mercury in the 2nd means you think about how to make money. You may plan a lot for big purchases or talk about your possessions. In the 3rd, Mercury is emphasized, so you may not have a filter when you talk. You might talk back to people when you don't agree, or you may just talk and think a lot in general. 4th house represents your home life, so you may talk and think about or to your family members a lot. Chances are you're a good gift giver because of this. Mercury in the 5th could mean that you talk about and to your kids a lot and think about them often. In the 6th, Mercury is also emphasized, so here you may communicate a lot at work or need to in order to do your job efficiently. Work is probably on your mind frequently. If in the 7th, you think and talk about your significant other or attract partners that talk about themselves. The 8th house with Mercury means your mindset will transform at some point in your life. In the 9th, you may have grand plans and enjoy long-distance communication, whether it's on the phone or behind the screen. Mercury in the 10th means you may think about your reputation a lot, especially at work. You may also communicate with others at work in a mentor way. The 11th means you enjoy talking to and about your friends. And in the 12th, it signifies that you might be the quiet type who thinks carefully before doing anything. So you see the pattern here. All the planets that we described in the last video are applied to the house meanings that were also described in previous videos. Moving on to Venus. Venus, which rules the 2nd and 7th house of Taurus and Libra, represents love, beauty, and blessings. If Venus is in your 1st house, your physical and or inner appearance may be beautiful or blessed. You light up the room when you walk into it and catch people's eye in every standard and non-standard measurement of beauty. In your 2nd house, Venus is emphasized. You may be blessed with what you have or the income that you receive. Your 3rd house might mean you enjoy talking. Your voice may be beautiful and you may be a singer. You may be blessed with siblings. In the 4th, Venus suggests your home and or family might be beautiful. This is your adulthood home that you create. In the 5th house, your kids may be what brings you the most love and joy. You also know how to have fun in life. The 6th house suggests your health may be blessed compared to others, so you may age slower if you treat yourself well. You're probably good at what you do and what you provide for others. You find joy in going to work. If you're a waitress, you probably get good tips. In the 7th, Venus is emphasized as well and suggests your relationships are beautiful. You may be blessed in personal and business relationships. In the 8th, you may have the 3rd eye more so than others, or may be qualified to receive things like scholarships, grants, and inheritances. Play the lottery once in a blue moon. The 9th house with Venus could mean long-distance travel is on the agenda frequently. You may visit beautiful places or find joy in religion. Your belief system and morality may be beautiful. With Venus in the 10th, you may have a career that brings you joy and blessings. In the 11th, you may find joy and blessings in your friends. And in the 12th, Venus means you love your alone time. You are in your element when you can take the time to be by yourself. Now, because we don't include Earth as a planet in the chart, we'll be considering the moon as an inner celestial body. The moon represents your emotions and where your subconscious lies. It also represents your mother and where your sense of security is. The 4th house of Cancer is its ruling house and sign. If the moon is in your 1st house, you may put yourself first as a defense mechanism. You may depend on yourself for emotional security. In the 2nd, financial income is your sense of security. The 3rd house suggests that in order to feel better, you need to vent. You may be headstrong in how you think and feel. The 4th is emphasized, so home and family is where you find your sense of security. Your mom may be the nurturing parent, or you are the nurturing parent. The 5th suggests you may be emotionally dependent on your children. And the 6th could mean that you need to be needed. You are probably the work mom at your job. With the moon in the 7th, you could be codependent in relationships. Your significant other might have characteristics that your mother has or characteristics that you wish your mother had. In the 8th, the moon suggests that your relationship with your mother may be transformed. And in the 9th, you may look to religion or your own personal beliefs for a sense of security. Moon in the 10th may indicate you are a dedicated worker who depends on their career status as a sense of security. Being laid off may hit you harder than others, and most likely you are prone to climb to the top. The 11th house tells us that you look to your friends as your support system. And in the 12th, the moon suggests that you deal with emotions privately. Mars represents what you fight for and what you fight with. It's passion and aggression, whose ruler is in the 1st and 8th house of Aries and Scorpio. Because it is emphasized in the 1st house, Mars means you're probably independent and have a strong personality. You may put yourself first because you have to, and tend to be brutally honest because you hate beating around the bush. In the 2nd, you could have the tendency to impulse buy, but you also fight hard for your money and what you have. So just as quick as money goes, money arrives. The 3rd house with Mars indicates some type of rough childhood. It can also mean that you use your words to defend your values and beliefs. In the 4th, Mars suggests an unstable home life. It could mean your nurturing parent was angry or that you are the angry nurturing parent. The 5th house shows a possibility of demanding children. But you put your kids first, so don't be afraid to put your foot down. You also might put fun first, so be careful with money and promiscuous sex. Mars in the 6th means you are go, go, go. You keep yourself busy with work and projects because you like accomplishment. You may also be a fitness freak. 7th house indicates that you put your partner first. You may also be argumentative with your partner, either for the sake of harmless arguing or because you are drawn to toxic relationships. Mars is emphasized in the 8th, so here it means you have strong sexual and passionate energy. Your feeling of anger may transform. Mars in the 9th suggests a love for travel and the tendency to defend your beliefs. And Mars in the 10th suggests you enjoy career challenges as you rise to the top of the food chain. In the 11th house, this indicates that you fight for and with your friends. You may be the ride or die, but you also may be argumentative with your friends as well. And in the 12th, Mars means you may be dealing with some underlying anger issues that have not yet been dealt with. Now, Chiron is not a planet, but it does follow the orbit, and Chiron represents the trauma that you learn from and benefit others by teaching your experience. There is no dedicated house or sign for Chiron. If Chiron is in your 1st house, you may be focused on self-discovery throughout your life due to early emotional wounds in your childhood. If in your 2nd, there is a higher possibility that there was sexual abuse in your lifetime. In your childhood, you may have had little to no affection. This in turn creates a self-confidence that is incomparable to others. If Chiron is in your 3rd house, you may lack self-consciousness due to early childhood criticism. This can lead to mental health issues and or anger issues. The 4th with Chiron indicates that you are the black sheep of the family. And in the 5th, you may have grown up too fast or have the tendency to cut people off. The 6th house represents the ability to self-heal. However, you may have had health issues or accidents when you were young. In the 7th, Chiron tells us that your parents may have been divorced or separated, starting a series of failed relationships in your life. If you haven't already, you need to find your self-worth. With Chiron in the 8th, you may have lost a loved one when you were younger and or may have had new births during childhood like a sibling. This gave you incredible insight. In the 9th, your belief system might have come crashing down one way or another. This doesn't always have to mean religion, but can just mean your perspective on life in general. In the 10th, Chiron tells us that you spend time proving your self-worth when you should accept yourself as you are. And in the 11th, you may feel rejected for being different. Whether this is a physical attribute, mental, sexual preference, or whatever, realize that this makes you unique and take advantage of it. And finally, Chiron in the 12th means that you may have a lot of anxiety or nervous tension. You have the healing ability to help others, so use it. It may relieve your own ailments. In our next video, we'll be finishing understanding the natal chart by going over examples of the outer bodies in each of our houses, so that we can reroute back to mapping out our life. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see you next week.